Hello and welcome to our channel. Are you learning English? Great! Let's learn English with a very interesting story. Don't forget to subscribe, like and comment. Let's get started.
Hello everyone. Today, I'm going to share a personal story about a time when my life changed after moving to a quiet town. My name is Emily and my husband's name is James. About a year ago, we decided to leave our busy life in the city behind. We were craving something slower, quieter, so we found a small cabin in the countryside near a river, surrounded by beautiful hills and old oak trees. It felt peaceful, just what we needed. In the beginning, everything was perfect. Mornings were calm, and we spent our days hiking, reading, and enjoying the view of the river. The town was small, everyone knew each other. Soon we met our neighbors, Liam and Grace. They were friendly and close to our age. We quickly started spending time together. Liam worked as a graphic designer, and Grace ran a small online bookstore from home. Like us, they didn't have kids, but we all loved nature. We went for walks, had bonfires, and sometimes Liam would take James canoeing while Grace and I would chat over coffee. One afternoon, though, something changed. James had gone over to help Liam with something in their shed, and Grace and I were sitting on the porch. As James walked away, I noticed Grace watching him. She smiled to herself, but it didn't feel like a casual smile. Something about it unsettled me. At first, I told myself I was just being silly. James and Grace were friends, that's all. But then it started happening more often. Grace would always find reasons to ask James for help fixing a leaky faucet, lifting heavy boxes, trimming trees. James, being kind, always agreed, but it started to feel like she was asking for help more than necessary. One evening, I went over to invite them for dinner. Grace opened the door and seemed surprised to see me. I heard James talking from a back room, but he wasn't in the living area. His voice sounded different. When I asked what they were doing, Grace quickly said just finishing up some shelf organizing, but something about her tone didn't feel honest. After that, I started noticing more small things. When Grace and James were in the same room, she leaned in too close, laughed too much at his jokes, and even started dressing up more when we were all hanging out. It was subtle, but I could feel it. I told myself again not to jump to conclusions, but I couldn't shake the feeling. One night, James came home later than usual. When I asked where he'd been, he said he was helping Grace with something at her place. I didn't say anything out loud, but inside I felt uneasy. Why didn't he tell me he'd be late? The next evening after dinner, I brought it up. I told James I wasn't comfortable with how close he and Grace were getting. He looked genuinely surprised. "I didn't know it bothered you," he said. "I was just helping her out, but I still felt something was off." I began to watch more carefully. Whenever we were together, Grace would always find a reason to touch James's arm or make a flirty comment. It didn't feel innocent. I didn't know what to do. Then one day, while I was out for a walk by the river, I saw them, James and Grace. They were talking, standing too close. James had his hand on her shoulder, and Grace was leaning in toward him. When they noticed me, they quickly stepped back, but it was too late. I saw the look in their eyes. That evening, I told James firmly I needed him to set boundaries. I told him I was losing trust, and I didn't like how Grace was acting around him. He was quiet for a while, then said, "I'm sorry, Emily. I didn't mean to hurt you. I'll make sure it doesn't happen again." After that, James began keeping his distance. He only helped Grace when it was truly necessary, and he made sure to tell me. Grace stopped asking for his help as much. Eventually, she stopped entirely. Life slowly returned to normal. But even though things improved, part of me still didn't fully trust Grace. What if she tried again? Could I fully trust James? One afternoon, Grace came by with a basket of baked goods. "I hope we're still friends," she said with a smile. I smiled back politely, but I didn't say much. The truth was I didn't trust her anymore, and I knew I probably never would. Over time, James and I grew closer again. We spent more time together and began reconnecting. I started to trust him more. I knew I had to let go of the doubts if we wanted to move forward. One evening, we sat on the porch watching the sunset. I turned to him and said, "I'm sorry for doubting you." James smiled, kissed my forehead, and said, "I'll always be here for you, Emily." In that moment, I realized something important. Trust is the foundation of every relationship. Even when things get tough, if you trust each other, you can get through anything.